Okay, so let's talk about extrude. We want to add material. So we're going to take our sketch and we're going to extrude it. We're going to give it a depth and we're going to make material. So I'm going to click on my sketch. I'm going to highlight my sketch and then I'm going to click on my extrude and it is going to bring up our extrude box. And by default, pretty much everything in this box is what we're going to want to use. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use this profile. The profile is our sketch one and we had our sketch one selected already. So the output here, there's two different options. One is solid, one is a surface. In this case, we are always going to be wanting to do a solid at this point. Surfaces, more complicated. Later on, you can do that later. But for now, just know that we're going to do a solid output. These center ones, these center options, they will become more active as we get more and more features there. In this case, we only have one sketch and we don't have any features in our part yet. So it's going to make a new solid down here. So that's going to be kind of our new solid. Now the other things here is the extents. Now this means the one we have a distance. We can actually, most of the time we're just going to use distance. There are a few other options here. Know that that click down is there, but for now, let's just use distance. Distance here, we can type in the distance. So if we know how far we want to extrude it, we can type it in. We can also, on the screen here, it shows this arrow. We can click and drag that out also. So we don't necessarily need to type in a dimension, but if we wanted to make something and say, okay, I want this to look about like this. Well, I don't care exactly what that dimension is, but I just want it to look about right. And it will automatically put that in there. So that's another way that we can use that. That kind of gets back into our design intent of our parametric design. So that's the distance. And then there's 4 different options down here. Now I'm going to show you these. For the most part, we're going to use direction 1 most of the time. So direction 1 is it's kind of extruding towards us or down to the lower left. If we click direction 2, it just flips it over. It flips it in the opposite direction. If we click the next one, which is symmetric, it extrudes part of it on one side and part of it on the other side of our sketch. And then the 4th one is asymmetric. Basically, it extrudes on both sides, but we can change the dimension on each side. Now, those are a little bit more advanced. There are certain reasons that we would do that. But again, to start out, we're going to start out with direction 1. Just focus on using that right now. So once we have that all set, then we can click on OK. And once we do that, it now turns our sketch into an extrusion. Now this is a 3-dimensional part. We can take this and we can rotate it around in space and you can see that is a 3-dimensional object now. Now, if we look underneath our extrusion, there is a sketch and we can still see that we have our sketch there and we have dimensions associated with our sketch. And we can go in and modify those dimensions if we wanted to also. So that is how we're going to make our first feature, and that is our extrude